to let go. Let me tell you, friend, believe me when I say I know. It always feels like we're punching in. Well, I'm glad you stopped by. The fun is about to begin. You paid good money at the door. Get ready for a real good show. If you want to have a real good time with me tonight, you gotta move like crazy, dancing in the pale moonlight. We can all get down, spin inside out. I'm telling you, if you really want to groove, you gotta make a move.
Hey, this is Riley. I'm live at the Silicon Prairie Center. Take two, if you didn't know. This time I hit the record button, and I'm here in the Silicon Prairie Center in Nebraska. Kirk is joining us via Zoom link, and you are at...
I am in Sacramento, California. In the background, you can see one of the pillars of Tower Bridge.
Nice.
I'm literally sitting on the river here in Sacramento.
Sweet. And Kirk, we have a special guest with us, don't we?
We do. We have a very special guest. Diva Tyler's with us here tonight, and we got to know each other through a mutual friend. Had the opportunity to be on her podcast and get to know her a little bit outside of that as well. So super excited to have her. Many of you will recognize her from some movies, particularly one that was recently box office #1, Halloween Kills. So
I had just watched the movie, by the way, when Kirk said, "Hey, we should do this," and I'm like, "What?" Insane. Also, I just want to say I'm very upset and disappointed that you couldn't hear me yelling at my TV to run.
I never got that before.
Oh my gosh, I like watching scary movies, but at the same time, you either want to watch the movie with me or you don't, because I'm going to be the guy that's crawling up the side of the chair don't go in that room. Don't do it. He's in there, lady. Come on. So, yeah, it was a very good movie. My wife is a huge Halloween fan, and so definitely one that we always go watch.
Yeah, well... So I wanted to kick it off just kind of talking about your career. How did you get, Diva, to where you are today? I mean, what was your path to getting into these films? Did you start in theater? Did you have some epiphany at a certain point in life where you're like, you know what, I want to be an actor. I'm going to go out and pursue it. Love to hear a bit about your story and then how that kind of, segues into how you've gotten in the recent films that you have.
Well, one of the things is I grew up in a home. My grandfather was the pastor of a Baptist church in Jacksonville, Florida. And so every Sunday we went to church. Of course, we were right there. But during the holidays, like the Easter, I would always have a speech. And at that time, I had this uncanny ability to memorize lines very quickly. And so I would do all the little plays and all the little skits and what have you. And in high school, I became a thespian, and I was a part of the drama club at that time. And at 15, I left Florida and moved to New York. And at that time, I was just about to turn 16. And at 16, I joined the American Negro Ensemble Theater and worked with R.C. Davis and Ruby Dee, not having any idea what icons I was working with at that time. But I did get an opportunity to work with them and do some plays while I was in New York. I moved back some years later, back to Florida, got back into stage and theater. I did a one-woman show during that time. And when I moved to Atlanta in 2000, I came here, I started working, and then they had a play that I had been in Jacksonville, Florida, called For Colored Girls Who've Considered Suicide When the Rainbow Is Enough. And I auditioned and I got the role in that movie, in that play. And from that, I began to do more plays around Atlanta. And that was right at the crux when Atlanta was beginning to become this they were eyeing Atlanta for television and film. And I began to do so many plays, but it wasn't as lucrative for someone that had gotten as mature as I. And so I started feeling a little bit like Danny Glover in Lethal Weapon. I'm getting too old for this ish. So film and television was the next thing. And I had some people in my corner that were, encouraging me. And so I went and I auditioned for an agent, and she liked what she saw and she brought me in. And so from there, the rest was history. When I first started, I booked quite a bit. As a matter of fact, my first role that I got was with David Gordon Green was director. And I worked with Will Ferrell and Danny McBride in Eastbound and Down. And that was pretty hilarious. I'm still getting comments on YouTube about it, about this from way back in like 2012, And from that, I began to book other various film movies, mostly with all of the lead characters, all of my lines. And what was unheard of, and I didn't know, because you don't know what you don't know, is that for you to start in television and film for the first time and to get your first role as a speaking role is not something that is common, evidently. And I had no idea. I was just showing up and doing what I was asked to do. And so that was fun. So from that time on, every role that I had afterwards was always with the lead characters, and I always had speaking roles. And I moved right on into from the first time when I worked with Danny Glover and not Danny Glover, I'm sorry, with David Gordon Green, and he's the kind of person that I guess if he likes who you are, because he is a people person and he likes your energy and you have talent, he sort of pulls you into his other projects. And so from that, the next time I had the opportunity to work with David Gordon Green was in Vice Principals, which was also a very fun role to play. And that was really great. And from that, Halloween 2018, and then late Halloween Kills.
The thing that I took home from what you said right there, and just to plug the podcast, Make a Move, you were going to auditions, you were putting yourself out there, you were making the moves. If anybody's seen Halloween Kills, you're like flying a drone around your house. And so I was joking with Kirk. I was like, you suppose that she was just flying that drone around her house and she got the knock on the door like, hey, you want to be in a movie? Like that's not
didn't happen quite like that.
And I'm joking, of course, but just to illustrate the point, you were out there and you were making those moves and networking and meeting those people to create those opportunities in the long run. And that's what we're wanting to highlight and illustrate to people and try to motivate people to, man, get off the couch. Don't wait for the opportunities to come knocking.
Well, you're absolutely right, because again, you don't know what you don't know, but I am a people person, and it was very easy to, once my agent would, send me out for bookings, to meet people, because I found out early on that, character on set goes a long way. Your personality on set goes a long way. And so I always made sure I watched. I was one of the best pieces of advice that I was given before I did that first one was to watch what the big guys were doing, to be myself, and to have fun. And that's exactly what I did. And I was absolutely fortunate to have my first opportunity working with these guys, because they allowed me so much freedom to add my lines. I think when they first hired me, I had maybe about 3 lines, but I'm a quick study, and they told me to keep my eye on it. And Danny McBride and Will Ferrell don't necessarily go by what's on the script. So you have to. So I learned to listen very carefully so that I could respond appropriately.
Hey, Rylie here. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Make a Move podcast. For more content, check us out on all major social media platforms and makeamovepodcast.com. Until next time, get off your butt and make a move.